hey, I'm gonna use this comment right here because I did a video on, about two types, and I was talking about the two types of Christians, and I'm going to use myself for an example as well. But as far as this comment, the Bible speaks about being unequally yoked, but however, that does not mean leave your spouse. Sometimes you have to be, you have to lead by example. Because a lot of times, not everybody's going to start out with you when it comes to living for God. But over time, that can happen. So that's just my response to that. Continue to lead by example. But as far as this two types, I don't want it to go over nobody's head. So I'm going to use me. When I first met my spiritual father, I was in between the ages of 21 and 23. He's a prophet. The first thing he saw when he looked at me, he said, "You believe in God, but you want to do your own thing." So this is how God started breaking things down to me over time. Okay. There are levels to everything. Okay. So I was a believer in God, but I wasn't the one who was living for God because I still wanted to do what I wanted to do. I was still being selfish. God wanted to use me for something else. See, like I said, I believed in God. If you go back and check my videos, it's just so you can get an idea of where you stand. Okay, because there is levels. I believed in God, but I was not living for God. I did not surrender my life fully to God. It is possible to believe in God and yet have not committed. Because if you know about Jonah in the Bible, he wanted to go one way, but God sent him, another way. And so he was in the belly of the fish. He got caught up. He got trapped by God. So he ended up still having to surrender to God. You can read up on that story more, but it just made me think about Jonah. So, however, like I said, over time, as I grew my relationship with God, I started living for him. And also, when you come into fully surrendering to God, because you always hear that about, I surrender. Like I say, a lot of us believe in God, but are we really surrendering our life to God? Are we really walking away from sin? Are we returning away from our selfish ways? Because a lot of us, like myself, when I was younger, the only thing I thought about with God was praying and getting what I wanted. That's how a lot of us think. We just pray and God will do it, do what we asking to do. That's what we hear. They say, pray and God will do it for you. That's all you know. Nobody teach you about the work that you have to go through. Nobody teach you about fully surrendering. So I'm 21 and 20, between 21 and 23, thinking that, I just pray to God and get what I want. No commitment. No type of sacrifice. And that's not how it works. So that's when God inspired me to do the message of the breakdown of two types. Because like I said, you can believe in God, but still not fully be committed to God, the one that's living. And also when it comes to living for God, think about the disciples. Think about the 12 disciples who, when he say, take up your cross and following God, Jesus in that time when they were following him, they took up their cross and they started following Christ. You know what I'm saying? They turned away from their life, for a new life, or, what God had in mind. My thing is, when I was younger, all I wanted to do was do music. I wanted to play ball. And that's all I pray about. Lord, please let me get this. Please let me get that. Do it. Me. And it never happened. But guess what? Here's the thing. Me speaking to you guys today, that is me. That I took on my calling of living for God, because then I realized he wanted to use me as a motivational speaker. But at the same time, if you let God do what he's trying to do, those desires in your heart, they come around full circle. So even though I'm speaking and doing what God wants me to do, I'm still able to do that music and do the things that I want to do, but his way. And when you think about, this is why it's important to live for God and go his way. And when I say live for him, make sure we're trying to fully surrender and walk away from sin. That is hard. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here sitting perfect telling you, I'm this and that. No, I still have to fight temptations as well. And so as far as being a young person and, following Christ, I want to make sure that I'm honest about that, because a lot of times Christians get caught up in trying to hide that they go through stuff. And that's not the one I want to be. I still fight against temptation like everybody else. I still have to flee the enemy. You know what I'm saying? So it's just an ongoing fight every day for all of us. But however, like I say, if you allow God to do what he's doing, he will bring things around full circle. You got to trust the process. Trust God and trust the process, and don't be afraid to sacrifice, because at the end of the day, your flesh, all your flesh gonna do is get you in trouble. And when I say God brings things around full circle, when I told you I wanted to do music, now check this out. Over these years, God helped me back. I met a lot of industry people. And, I came before a lot of record labels before. And when I say he brings stuff around full circle, look at everything I'm learning about the industry nowadays. We seeing how wicked it is. See, God knows what he's doing. He's protecting you. If I would have got in that industry at an early age, when, people that know me from doing music, I was traveling back then. I was on radios. I had got an underground award for a female artist. If I would have went there then, they would have chewed me up and spit me out. I was not ready for that. And this is why I say it's important let God take you through the process in your life, because you're not ready. And, it was not time. The knowledge that I have now and how I speak to you guys, I was not there at the age of 18 and 20 and all of that. Let God do what he's doing. He know what he's doing. Okay. And one thing about it, when you fully surrender and live for God, he always have a better plan to get you to the place that you want to go. I desire to do music, but guess what? Over time, my lyrics started to change. My music started to change because my life started changing. It's no more rapping about money and cars. That makes no sense. But, I put up a freestyle that's, talking about, in God I trust, and, staying woke. That's what I started turning to. That's how my lyrics started to come out, because things were different in my life. What's the point of me keep talking to y'all about money and cars and talking about sex? How does that benefit you when you're going through something? You know what I'm saying? When you're in a dark place, you don't need that. You need something that's going to feed your soul and uplift you. And that's why I say, God showed me, let me show you what else to talk about in your music. Let me show you how to inspire people. So if you trust God and fully surrender and live for him, he has a better plan, and it'll go bigger when you start living for God.